When I think about, that structure and that opportunity to play a part in this, I think a lot about role. And I think
Hmm.
you and I meet in the middle a lot on thinking about role and how
Yeah.
important that is within a community. And when we go through some framework later on in part two of this, we'll talk a lot more about role
Yeah.
and where people fit into that. But you're never explicitly told, like, hey, you're here. Now you get a chance to find your role in the community. It's never, you're not licensed that. It's more
No.
of a unspoken bond of, we are working towards goals. Now, how are you going to fit into this and find your specific role in that? And that is separate from job role. That's separate from title. That's separate from maybe even your core competencies. It might be your passion
Yeah.
area. And wherever you can fit into that space, that's where you have to fit into. And I think it's almost a duty to be able to find your role within a community. And you only really start looking for that role if you feel that emotional connection to a place to be able to find it.
For sure. Like I think of like kids on a playground as like the playground's built. We can use that as a metaphor for the community. There's people already at play. If you're just got to the playground, it's your job to kind of, and kids do this all the time, is that it's your job to survey how to get in the game, figure out what game's being played, what you can do to add value to that game. You can't just sit there on the bench waiting for somebody to go grab you and tell you exactly what you're going to do. Nor do I think that's really what people want. So I couldn't agree with you more about it's a person or an individual's responsibility to have their eyes out and to be mindful of what is it that I see that I could be valuable in. And then through that, you can foster the relationship. But I don't think you can sit and wait for it to come to you. It wasn't so fast acting for me because the pandemic and the flood happened shortly thereafter. But man, I remember I think I was going to get Hungry Howie's pizza. And then I was at the time, it was EFPN or McFan now is our food pantry. Yeah. And it has like people helping people. And in DC, I was really looking to get more tapped into our food systems and being able to help people who don't have as much food as they probably need to have. There was a flyer, but I don't really know exactly what I would do, but I know that I've wanted to do that, and that was in mind. And, flash forward to years later, we have this beautiful program, like you mentioned earlier, like Regrow Midland, and now in its current form, Regrow together with the United Way Midland County. And I'm able to play a part in feeding a lot of people. So, but that's something that I had to do, is I had to look for the opportunities. The opportunities are there, but you gotta take them.
Well, and there's psychological safety involved with wanting to go after those opportunities as well. So you have to feel safe within an area to be able to take that risk. And for those that aren't CEOs or presidents of an organization, a lot of times we're not necessarily afraid to say no. We're afraid to say yes because if you say yes and you fail, it's what's the degree of failure here? And you have to be able to be licensed to be trusted and to have that type of safety to jump and get into a program like that. And you mentioned Regrow Midland and now Regrow Together, housed at United Way in Midland County. And we love our friends at United Way. They do so much incredible work for this community. And they're incredible community conveners that really bring people together to bring work forward in the community.
Yes.
So how did that partnership take place?
Holy cannoli. We're going to do a lot of time. Well, the initial inception was during the pandemic and flood. There was you couldn't go into a restaurant, and the community knew that without being able to have patrons going into restaurants, these businesses, the restaurants that we do have, are going to have a hard time getting the sales that they need to be able to stay afloat. So the community came together. I'm going to do the fastest version of this as I can. Community came together, developed a set of funds to be able to say we want to pay restaurants to be able to cook healthy meals and feed those to our family centers and beyond, where we know that there's a need in our community to feed people. Jason, do you think you could build out a program that would work? There's a lot of support around it, so it certainly wasn't just me. But do you think that you could build up the pieces of that and make sure it runs well? I said, yeah, I could do that. And we did, and that went super good. But it was an expensive program because you're putting a lot of money in food businesses. So that had to go away because we always knew it would be as a short-term acute response to a need. But our family centers, our food distribution sites like that. And I said, well, I thought y'all had something like this already. Like, well, y'all offer meals, and that's very helpful. People like the fact that there are meals that are nutritious, that are ready to eat for people that can or won't cook. So then it took me a couple months, like, well, we got to figure out how to do this for virtually no dollars because it costs money to get food and it costs money to get people to prepare food. So without belaboring the details, we put that together, and now it's like 14 partners around the county. And, as of the end of this month, we'll have done 50,000 meals in the year year and a half that we've done it in this current form. And then combined, that would be 100,000 meals between both of those programs. So to that point of like really a couple years ago, waiting for my pizza at Hungry Howie's to being able to do something very enriching, you may have to do some work and you may have to be patient, but this is a place where it can come together.
Subscribe wherever you consume media. Maxwell's Midland is your entertainment, resources, and collective improvement hub for Midland County. Plan your next adventure in Midland at maxwellsmidland.com.